camera on? Are you filming? Is the camera on? Like, are you actually going? Alright. Of course it's on. I'm the one holding the camera. My son's at school. I'm alone. And bored. So I decided to do an N64 video. You want to see some N64 games? I'm sorry, I am really weird right now. But you want to see some N64 games. So, we have them all. We have every single NA N64 game. And I'm going to show you each one of them. Individual, just one at a time. And I'm going to take like 5 minutes describing each single one of them. I'm joking. I'm going to try to go quick here. There's a lot of them, but I am going to give little tips along the way. Because I know when we started out, me and Bomberman Sam started out, we did N64, and I was searching for videos and all that, like trying to get little tips on what's expensive, what I'm up against, all those kind of things. So I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to go quick. But I'm doing this for the people starting out that maybe want to do N64. I know N64 is kind of a favorite among a lot of people to collect for us, mainly. You know, not so much playing it, because let's be real, it didn't hold up that well in time. But collecting it is really fun. And it's kind of one of the smaller ones, not like NES, which is just ridiculous. Or Super Nintendo and all those crazy ones that you'll eventually get into. It's like a gateway collector. You know what I mean? You start with N64 and then you just have a whole house full of games. So anyways, I'm going to go through them and I hope you enjoy it. And this is for the people that need help or just want to be entertained by looking at games. I know you don't want to see my ugly face this whole time, so I'm going to have the camera facing the games and I'm just going to talk. I'm going to keep it simple like that, alright? So, hope you enjoy and let's get to it.
Here we are. We are going to look at 296 plus N64 games. If you're still with me after the intro, then obviously you really want to see these games. So, I decided the best way to do it was to just, line up one game, and I'll go quick. I did the first, I'm going to do like chunks, I'm going to grab a few chunks at a time, bring them in here, and show them off. So, I decided to start with the colored carts, because those are like my favorite, But, so we'll start off with the black carts, and let's get to it. WrestleMania 2000. Not much to say, it's a wrestling game. If I remember right, though, this is one of the harder ones to get. Not super hard. Again, none of the N64 games are actually truly hard to get. Scooby-Doo. See a little bit of sticker residue still on it. I don't know. I plan on, cleaning up the sticker residue on a lot of these, but not right now. Scooby-Doo, easy one to get. Not very expensive. I think it's about $8. We have Batman Beyond, and you'll notice that some of these are in these cases. They're a good investment. They're not too much, but I like to keep a lot of the pricier games in them. I haven't even gotten enough to keep all the games that I want to keep in them yet, but that's what those are. They're little like plastic protectors. See, you keep your game safe. So Batman Beyond, I think that's one of those like mid-range $15 title things. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I love the Tony Hawk's growing up. This is probably the hardest one to get of the Tony Hawk's on N64. Like I said, I love Tony Hawk growing up, but on PlayStation, not necessarily N64. Rainbow Six. Not that good of a game on N64. But it is kind of cheap. Like the $8 range. Fighter Destiny 2. Believe it or not, this was one of the later ones that we ended up getting. It was just hard to find in person. We tried to do most of these in person. And now, instead of eBay, this is one of the harder ones for us to find in person. I think it's like $15. Same with this one. Kind of the same story. One of the harder ones to find in person, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's super rare. Actually, you know what? This is the game that I was thinking of. This is the wrestling game that's kind of expensive for our N64 wrestling game. It's this one, I believe. It looks pretty cool. cover art. I think it's like 20 bucks. Road Rash. This is another one that's kind of like a little bit. When I say expensive, I mean expensive for the N64. It's not really too expensive for, you know, N64 in general. This one was like 20, 30 bucks, I think. Kind of on the expensive side for N64. Turok 2. Decent game. Not too expensive. Average. Our Marines. This is a game that I actually didn't know about until I started collecting. I didn't really collecting for N64. I didn't really know about this game. So it's kind of fun to collect for libraries, and that's one of the most fun parts, is that you discover games that you have never even heard of. This one's like a racing game. I have, believe it or not, and I'm gonna point out if any are rare, you know, rare enough to talk about, just to save time. The gray card of this one, make a gray card. It's actually expensive. Now that's rare, but this one is not so much rare. But I think it'd just be easier if I explain the ones that are worth explaining, that were hard for us to get, or in general are hard to get. Battlezone. Because I don't want to give a price for every single game and bore you. Alright. Now we have this one, Turok 3. Turok 3 actually is a little more on the expensive side. 20, 30 bucks, I think. But it actually is kind of hard to get if you're doing it in person. Mostly any N64 game that you go for, you could probably just get on eBay if that's how you want to do it, which is extremely boring, not recommended. But if you're hunting in person, that is what I'm describing. Madden, come on, don't need to explain it. Got a black cart though, that's cool. Power Rangers, I love Power Rangers growing up. I mean, I didn't really play much of this game though. I played the one on Super Nintendo, which was a blast. And believe it or not, me and my son did put in every N64 game and test it out for at least a few minutes. So technically, I have played every single one of these games. This has a gray cart variant. I think it's this Rugrats. One of the Rugrats has a gray cart variant. Yeah, so technically I have played every single one of these games, believe it or not. N64 was one of my favorite game systems growing up. Onto the green. Look how beautiful the green carts are. Look how beautiful those are. One of my favorites. Army Men is actually one of my favorites. Not that one, not Sergeant's Heroes 2, but the first one. It's extremely fun. I do have a funny story about this one. See the back there? This was one of my later ones to get in the library, and I bought this from eBay. And that back was not like that. I don't care that much about backs, but it's the principle of the thing. When they showed the picture, it had like a little post-it note or something on the back, which I was fine with. When I got it, what they did was they tried to rip it off, and they ripped off half the back. Then tried to argue and say that I didn't deserve a refund when I asked for it. Actually, I just asked for a partial refund because it wasn't how it was pictured. Again, why I don't like to buy off eBay. Another Army Men variant. I think it's so cool that they did the Army Men things in green. Battle Tanks. That's on like a couple. I've seen that on NES, Super Nintendo. I'm not huge into that series, but it must be good. Okay, on to the gold. Does that need explaining? I mean, does that really need explaining? Zelda, Ocarina of Time. One of the best games, if not the best Zelda ever made. I did just recently beat Breath of the Wild. And I do have to admit that Breath of the Wild is really, really good. And probably better as a game, but I mean, this is a legend. Ocarina of Time. Best game on the N64. I'm just going to come out and say it. It's competitor. Majora's Mask. I do enjoy Majora's Mask for what it is, but I am going to just come out and say that I don't like it better than Ocarina of Time. I think it's good for what it is, but Wasn't one of my favorite Zeldas, but a lot of people do love that Zelda, and it is one of their favorites, and I respect that. It is a good Zelda. That's a variant. So they have like, you see me? They have like, this is actually like holographic, you know, see? You can kind of see him moving there. Can't really tell in the case that well, but it's holographic, and then this one's just flat. Flat label. So, had to get them both though because I love Zelda. Pokemon Stadium 2. Pokemon Stadium is actually a really good game. I didn't play much of Pokemon Stadium 2 because I just played a bunch of 1. But you know what's interesting about this cart? Look at this. It's half and half. It's gray, half gold. Pretty strange. I think they did it because of the Pokemon. Like you got Lugia, and I guess you could associate gold. Yeah, because I think the games are like Heart Gold and Silver that have the legendary birds on it. So, as Bomberman Sam would say, what a crisp cart. This is a good looking cart. I would take it out of the case, but I just don't want to waste the time. But it is a good looking cart. Donkey Kong 64 is a beautiful yellow cart. This is actually my favorite yellow cart. Earthworm Jim 3. 3D, sorry. I played a little bit of it, and it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, made by Rockstar. Things like that. It's a decent game, but I just love the way it looks. A lot of these, like I said before, a lot of games I just buy because of art. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Again, Tony Hawk, excellent skateboard series. On to the Reds. NBA Jam 2000. Not much to say about it. One thing that I did forget to mention because I was caught up in Zelda. Pokemon Stadium 2. It's actually one of the harder ones to get. You know, Pokemon Stadium 1 is kind of easy to get. But Pokemon Stadium 2, it's a little harder to get. A little more expensive too. It's like $30 or $40. Same with Earthworm Jim. That's actually kind of a harder one to get too. This one is super rare. Almost impossible to get. Joking. Because you can see I got it $3.99. But I probably got it free because I probably bundled it with the buy 4 games going free or whatever. I mean, Brett Favre. Brett Favre. This one is my favorite red cart. Look at that. That is a good looking cart. I think the red really does it justice. This was actually one of my later games that I got. And, you know, anytime I say that I got, you know, I mean like we as in me and Bomberman Sam, but, you know, I'm doing the video, so I'm just not always thinking that, and he's not here with me. But he did do N64 with me. We did it together. This one's one of my favorites, just art-wise. I think it looks really good. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Stop. Yeah. It's okay. Not that good of a game, to be honest. But yeah, Rocket was one of my last ones to get, believe it or not. It's only like a $20 game, though. There's the other Tony Hawk Pro Skaters. There's 3 of them on the N64. And that's the first one. They made that one blue. Madden just coming out with all the colors. Like, Madden is so obnoxious. And don't get me wrong, Madden is a good game. You know, not so much on N64. At the time, it probably was. But it's obnoxious, man. Coming out with all the colors. It just wants everything. There's a gray cart variant of this. And it's kind of expensive. This one is not hard to find, but the variant is. I have not collected variants yet. I do plan to in the future, but I have other things that I'm collecting for currently. Bassmasters 2000. This also has a gray variant, which is not that hard to find. In my opinion. Some would argue, but I've seen them. Hydro Thunder. This was one of the later ones, and Bomberman Sam got this one. I remember it. It's about a $20 game. I have seen it in the wild since, but this one I have to admit was an eBay purchase. When we got down to the nitty-gritty last 20 or so, we did start eBaying them. Had to. We wanted to close in and finish. This has a gray variant too. I actually do have the gray variant of this one. But you know, James Bond. Love James Bond. It's not GoldenEye, but this one is pretty good. So, that's it for the colored carts right now. I might have a few more in there, but I'm gonna move on to the other games. If I come across the colored one, I'll bring it out for sure. All right, so I grabbed the next chunk, and what I decided to do was, because I apologize ahead of time, but we're about to go through a big stretch of sports titles. And I mean, I appreciate sports titles, but let's be real, they're not the most fascinating. And there's a lot of them on N64, so, kind of gonna have to get used to it. And again, this is gonna be a long video. There's just really no quick, short way to go through all these games and really show them to you guys. So this is for the people that want something to watch for a little while and actually look at the game. So, I apologize. No quick, easy way to get through 296 games. So what I decided is, through this run of sports titles, I'm going to talk a little bit about us collecting the N64 and just things like that. I'm not going to read off the titles. I mean, you guys can, you can read, so you don't need me to, say every one. But Zelda Ocarina of Time, gray variant. Not as cool as the gold variant, but still, Ocarina of Time. Best N64 game ever made. So, when we first started N64, we didn't really know what we were up against. We knew that we wanted to get the entire library, and we knew it was going to be our first one that we were going to do. And when we got into it, it wasn't. It honestly is. After I'm trying to think the way I can put it, but after completing NES, I'm glad we started with N64, because it's a good way to pave the way. It's a good way to start if you're going for complete libraries, which I'm a completionist, so I like to complete them all. I like that I can say I have every game ever made, in North America, of course, for whatever given console. I just like to be able to say that, not for bragging rights, just because I used to, growing up, I was super into video games, and we couldn't get all these. So it's a good way to start if you are looking to start and want to see what it's all about. I would start with N64. It's a good learning experience. It lets you know if you really actually want to go through with complete libraries and things like that. It does get expensive. N64 is doable though. It's not super expensive. You're gonna run into a few games just like any other library that are pretty expensive, like Sculptor's Cut and Super Bowling. Super Bowling has got up there. At the date of this video, which is November 2018, Super Bowling, it's up in the $200 range nowadays, which when I got it, I think it was $120. And yes, it was an eBay purchase. Good luck finding that in the wild. If you have found it in the wild, let me know in the comments and let me know where you found it, because that's really cool to be able to find that in the wild. There's a couple others that get up there, but all in all, 296 games, it's not that expensive, because like I said, they're filled with these sports titles. I do love Wayne Gretzky's hockey. I do love that. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. There's no easy way to do a complete library these days. That one isn't that hard to get, but there is an International Superstar Soccer that is really hard to get nowadays. But, yeah, I mean, I appreciate all games, though, whether they're sports titles or whatever. Okay, we're getting into a little better games, so. Star Fox and Rugrats, again. Star Fox is alright on 64. Not a huge Star Fox fan, but I know that he is popular, and I appreciate anyone's opinion. Destruction Derby, which I actually didn't even know existed as a game at all. I mean, I was always into Twisted Metal, but I didn't know this existed. It's actually one of my later ones to get. I don't think it's that hard. It's not that expensive, but for here it was hard. And then Chameleon Twist 2. I found it in the wild, but I have heard that some people, that's one of their later ones. Like I said, everyone's different where you live. But if you are thinking about doing N64, I would do it while you can. It's going to get harder. It already is. It's already gotten harder. You know, it's been about a year since since we finished this library, and it is getting harder even after a year. So, if I were you, I'd get on it. A lot of the games are going up in prices too. This game, Fighting Force 64. Like I said, me and my son tried out every game for at least a few minutes when we were testing them as soon as we got them. He actually loved that game. That's a good, like, beat 'em up. It's like a, I mean, I guess it's like a beat 'em up, but better. You know, the stages are just better. That's actually a really good game. If you're into, like, fighting games and stuff, I would get that. He actually really ended up loving that game. I loved watching him play. That's a good one. So, if you're just watching this video to try to maybe get good games to play, that one I recommend. Going Quackers, that's one that I almost overlooked when I was doing the library. I don't think it's that hard to get, but it is one of those like obscure ones that you don't really think about. Ooh, both of these games I would get. Ready to Rumble is fantastic. Love it. Sam loves it. You know, he's into boxing, but I love it too, man. That one's a really good one. And Blitz, I mean, if you haven't played Blitz, do yourself a favor and play Blitz. That's a fun football game. And that's a sports title. But I'm going to grab another chunk. Be right back. Another Battle Tanks. Yeah. I'm telling you, that series is probably pretty good. You know, as I was grabbing these next thing of games, I was thinking, wouldn't that be funny? Ooh, Bust a Move. Bomberman Sam. I think this was last game on Bomberman Sam's list to get for N64. So this was actually one of our like last 5. That's kind of funny. But I was grabbing these games and I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny if I went through these and like found out that I didn't have one. Like I was missing one like this whole time. But no, I use and here's a little tip if you're wondering how to keep track of full libraries as you get them. One, you can get these little end labels. I got mine from eBay. People say you can get them from Etsy and stuff. Which those are like, you're gonna need those because when you put them on a shelf, sit them sideways. You got to know what they are. If you don't have the end labels, you don't even know what the game is. So, but no, that you can use that as kind of like a checklist. So, cause you know it comes with all 296 of them, and so you could peel one off every time you get a new game. And then when you're done, you're done. But how I did it was I actually went to price charting, believe it or not. Well, Sam did. Quake. That's a classic on PC. Went to price charting and printed off. Sorry if I get distracted, but it's like a wannabe Twisted Metal, you know? It's a good game. I'm not saying it's not a good game, but it's like Twisted Metal just did it so much better. But anyway, went to price charting, and you can do them alphabetical or by price, however you want to sort them. You can print the list off there, and then I literally just went old school, paper and pen, and marked them off as I got them. I think, in my opinion, that's the easiest and best way. But there's way more ways you could do it. That's how I did it, and the reason I liked it was because you can use price charting as a guideline to, for how much you should be paying for the game. So if you're like at the game store or whatever, instead of looking up every game, you got it right there. It gives you the title and the average price for it. So it was really convenient. Believe it or not, Virtual Pool was one of the later ones that I got because I couldn't find it in even decent shape. I try to get, one thing you'll notice, I hope, is that, the majority of my games are in really good shape. And it's because I tried to get them all in good shape. Not that there's anything wrong with little wear and stuff, but it was my first library, so I was real anal about it, and I just wanted to get good shape. That one's kind of rare. Snowboard Kids. Apparently it was it's a popular game. I thought it was alright, but I don't know, I wasn't super impressed, but maybe if I grew up playing it though, Razor. It's a block it's a Blockbuster exclusive. At least that's from my research. It's a Blockbuster exclusive, and it's not anywhere near the price of something like Sculptor's Cut or anything like that. This is like $10, $15. So that's what's so weird about Sculptor's Cut, which we'll get to. But you know what's kind of fun doing these videos is that I get to see all these games again. Because you know I forgot about a few of them, like this one. I forgot that there was a Miss Pac-Man on N64. So it's kind of fun going through and looking at them. Just kind of remembering the journey of N64, because it was honestly fun. I really enjoyed doing it. I think if you're going to choose one, definitely go with N64. But I know there's a lot of collectors out there that don't have to have complete libraries, and that's perfectly normal. If anything, I think it's kind of weird that I need to complete them. But like I said, that's what I like to do. So some people just go for the good games or subsets where, you know, they get their favorite games, or they get games that they heard were good, things like that. Many ways to do it. For me, though, I like to know that I own them all. Forsaken. 64. One thing that I've noticed on a lot of these titles is they always put 64, you know, like 64-bit. Obviously, Nintendo 64, that's what the 64 is for, is 64-bit. But, it's just funny because it's like you didn't need to put 64. Look, that one has it too. You could have just said Robotron, but they say Robotron 64, and it's like, we get it. It's only 64. It's actually one of my favorite games. So this is a classic example of, you know, what you grew up with. So I grew up playing this, you know, because I didn't have every game. So you played what... When I grew up, you know, you played what you had. So that was one of my favorite games, and, you know, a lot of people probably aren't huge fans of it. So that's why I say, when I go through these games, I don't know everything. And everyone has different opinions. So I'm only giving my opinion. I heard that was a good game. I actually didn't play much of it. Again, a reason why I'm not really talking about a lot of these is because, I mean, they're kind of self-explanatory. And, again, N64 isn't super... There's not a lot of things that are, like, super rare on it, you know what I mean? Like, we haven't really gotten to any of them that are what I would consider really rare. And that's why I'm not saying, like, you know, this one's $10 or this one's expensive or this one's rare. It's just that we haven't really ran into any that were super rare. But they will come. We will get to them. I'm just grabbing them randomly off the shelf. Aero Fighters. You know what's funny about Aero Fighters is, you know, that's a Super Nintendo Grail. Aero Fighters. It's like a $600-$700 game for Super Nintendo, and I just think that's funny because they have it for N64 for like $5. Iggy's, interesting game, interesting rarity in my opinion. I would consider that one uncommon. That one's a little harder to find in the wild. So is this one, and you wouldn't think it would be, and maybe it's just me, but this one was hard to find in the wild. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. You wouldn't think it would be. It's only like a $10 game. Again, feel free to leave comments and things like that. I'm not going to get offended. I don't know everything, you know? And so, what I would like to know is if some of you have completed it or are currently collecting for it, and what was tough for you to get, you know? What was challenging for you to get in your area or just for you personally? I would like to know how it differs. Really would. So, you know, and if I skip over like your favorite game and I don't talk about it, please don't get offended. I'm just trying to go quick and also show you guys all the games. Love Ken Griffey Jr. and I love Ken Griffey Jr. baseball games. Ken Griffey Jr. winning run on Super Nintendo is my favorite of them all. But, yeah, again, leave in the comments and let me know, like, what was your favorite game? I'll check it out. I have a 7-year-old son that would love to test out games that are known to be good. He loves to do that. Just let me know. If you think I said something that's stupid, let me know. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. I like to talk about it. That one actually was kind of hard to get, dude. And it's made by Rockstar, which seems weird for a monster truck game. But yeah, that one actually was kind of hard to get. Not expensive, hard to get. South Park. Who doesn't love South Park? It's kind of like a South Park racing game, you know? South Park Chef's Love Shack is the fun one. Olympic hockey? Not much. There was one that kind of tricked me because it has one that's similar to that label or something like that, and it kind of got mixed up when I was collecting for that one. Pilot Wings. That's on a few different platforms, you know it? It's on a few different ones, like Super Nintendo, NES I think has it. Might be decent. This one I just like the label. Found this at a pawn shop, of all things. But, yeah, I just like the label. Not that good of a game, in my opinion. And Lego games. Lego games are huge nowadays. Like, you'll see a lot of Lego games out there today for any console that comes out. And they were still on N64. Beast Wars. Now, this one, I'll talk about for a second. This game sucks. It's horrible. It's probably the worst. It's probably the worst on N64. Up there with Superman and all them. Like, it's bad. It's a fighting game of Transformers. And yeah, but it's horrible graphics, horrible gameplay. It is pricey though. It's like 40, I think 30, 40, maybe even $50. And it's pretty hard to get. I think this one is a Blockbuster exclusive as well. So that is one that you'll be wanting to look out for. This one too. This one's not that expensive, alright? It's only like 15 bucks, I think. But it was real hard. I still have not seen it in the wild. Still have not seen it in the wild. I had to get that one from eBay. It's just, I don't know, it's one of them games. Duke Nukem. I respect Duke Nukem. 64. Flying Dragon. Found this one at the wild at a disc replay. I remember it. It's actually pretty cool. It's got the, you know, like the, looks like PlayStation 1 graphics almost. A little blocky kind of graphics, but it's pretty cool. This one, I love the label. It's a decent game. I'd say uncommon to find in the wild. So I'm going to grab another chunk of games and I shall return. And I'm back. I got another chunk of games and again, quite a bit of sports titles in this. What you're going to eventually realize is that there's a lot of sports titles. You're just filler on the N64. Which, if you're collecting for an entire library, it's kind of not the end of the world because you know they're going to be cheap. You're going to get a bunch of games for cheap. But, you know, as a player, it's like, meh. There's so many of them, though. That's the thing. I think that's why N64 gets a bad rap. Because the games that are good are really good. Like Ocarina of Time and Super Mario Odyssey. What? Joking. Super Mario 64. Super Mario Odyssey of our time. But, I don't know if you guys have watched the show on Netflix yet. A show called Haunting at Hill House or something like that. Check it out if you haven't. That show was really good. Thought I'd bring up some conversation while we get through the painful experience of these sports titles. But yeah, it's a really good show. It's only, you know, it's just one season. I don't know if they're going to do a season 2 or not. But, it's a really good show. You should check it out. It's on Netflix. Haunting of Hill House or something like that. If you get on Netflix, I'm sure you've seen it advertised. Currently watching The 100 because my girlfriend told me to watch it. And it's alright. I think it's like 10 out of 10 yet, but it's pretty good. It's worth watching. So we got Doom. It's a little more interesting than these sports crusties. Oh, there's Ready to Rumble Boxing. That's another one. There's 2 of them on the N64. Both good. Actually, I've heard Wave Race is pretty good too. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at Wave Race. It was alright. Ken Griffey Jr. again. Another cruising game. Which the cruising racing games are actually good. That's why there's quite a few of them that you'll notice. But they are actually pretty good, so not mad at it. Quake. I mean, Quake's a good game. Not so much on this N64, really. I mean, they tried, you know what I'm saying? E for effort. They tried, but if you play like Quake and stuff on PC, it's way better. Oh my gosh. Alright, 1080p. You're alright, like, get out of here. Like, you don't even want to be next to this peasant. So this game right here, that's the notorious Superman game that everybody talks about. It is horrible. It's horrible. I mean, like, ultra bad. I mean, if you don't, just go look up gameplay if you don't have it. It's so bad. Alright, Star Soldier and Rampage. So now we're getting into a little more interesting games. But Star Soldier is it's one of what I like to call like the obscure category of N64. They're not really talked about a whole lot. They're not super expensive, but they're kind of hard to find, and you can easily overlook it. So that's one of those. And Rampage is well known. It's obviously like from the arcades, but it's pretty good. Probably not the best way to play Rampage, but it's still pretty good. Funny thing is, Bomberman Sam was responsible for getting Rampage and Rampage 2. And he struggled with them because can't find them mint for a decent price, like anywhere. You know? Triple Play 2000. Love that game. Honestly, it's one of my favorite baseball games. I played it on PlayStation, though. I didn't really play it on this. So I can't really vouch for the 64 one, but reaching to get these games. It's good on PlayStation. I used to love it growing up. Probably didn't hold up well now compared to like MLB The Show, which is amazing. Namco Museum, they made one of those just recently for the Switch. You know, it's just like arcades. Wayne Gretzky again. And I have to admit, they did well with Wayne Gretzky for like hockey games. They did well. I grew up playing those. Randomness. Not saying they're good or bad. I'm just saying I don't know much about them because I don't really play them. More randomness. V-Rally was kind of... I think they made like a V-Rally 2 that was kind of hard to get. These weren't hard to get at all. I think we'll run into it. It's kind of harder to get. Oh my goodness. Madden again. Mike Piazza. One of my favorite baseball players. I mean, not like my favorite, but I grew up watching him. I really like Mike Piazza. Ooh, okay. We're into some good games now. I'll shut up. Alright, so. Kirby 64, of course. You know, Kirby's good. I recently kind of played the one on the Switch. I got it for Bomberman Sam. I do like Kirby now. Pokemon Stadium needs no introduction. Exceptional game. It's super good. Especially for an N64 game. And it's not that much. It's really not that much, so like you should get it. Oh man. Dr. Mario, one of my favorite games of all time. Just classic, you know, Dr. Mario at its finest. And GoldenEye 007. Whew, alright. GoldenEye 007 is, I mean, amazing. In my opinion, and I mean, I would almost go as far as say it's almost fact, but, you know, there were some PC shooters at the time, but GoldenEye 007 revolutionized shooters on console gaming. I mean, I don't know how you could argue that, but it really did. It was so good. Me and my friends growing up played that so much, dude. So much. I mean, it's just the best. Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap is a legend. It's a legend game. It's really good. You know, you just go around taking pictures of Pokemon, and I know that sounds super boring, but somehow they pulled it off, and it is really fun. Because it's got a little bit of puzzles in there, too, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta do something. It doesn't tell you what to do, and you gotta do something to, you know, get another Pokemon to pop up, take a picture. Paper Mario, as I've said in previous videos, I'm not a huge Paper Mario fan, but it is what it is. Paper Mario is good. It honestly is good. I just don't really like the whole paper thing, but it is good. Mario Party, yes. Mario Party 1 is my favorite of all Mario Parties. I'm not saying there's not better, but I mean that's the one that was the first one out. I loved it. Mario Kart, terrible game. I don't know who plays Mario Kart. It's like a $3 game, and it's trash. I mean, who plays Mario Kart? Joking. Mario 64. Mario Kart 64 is the best Mario Kart ever made. Oh, cool. That worked out well. Mario Party 2 and Mario Party 3. Come back here, Mario Party 1. Why not, right? So, yeah, there's the Mario Parties on the N64. That's what started Mario Party. Mario Party 2, in my opinion, sucks. But that's just my opinion. Mario Party 3 is alright. But Mario Party 1, if you're only going to get one of these, Mario Party 1 is the one to get. They are relatively expensive. $30, $40 range. Because they're really good and they're Mario. Super Mario Odyssey and Mario Tennis. This is the best Mario Tennis, in my opinion. But again, I'm biased. I grew up with these. But that Mario Tennis really is flawless. I'm not into the whole like power thing. You can see my review on Mario Tennis Aces. I'm a huge Mario Tennis fan. Not into like those power moves and crazy stuff. I like just the standard fun tennis. And that's where it's at. That's the best one. Super Mario Odyssey is good. I mean, it's a classic. It's the best of the best. I don't even need to boost it up. I mean, it is what it is, man. Best one around. Mario Golf and Super Smash Bros. So, Mario Golf, again, I love the Mario sports games, and this is no exception. I love it. Excellent. Grew up playing that a ton. Super Smash Bros. This is one of my favorite Super Smash Bros. However, I have to admit, the GameCube outdid it, in my opinion. The GameCube Super Smash Bros. Is my favorite. Although, I could see this new one coming out on the Switch becoming my favorite because they really did it right. Like, they're going hard. So, but the 64 Smash Bros. Is super good. I love it. It was one of a kind at the time. Love it. I'm gonna grab some more games, and I shall return. Alright, I'm back, and I'm leading off with Castlevania.
Hey, you! All you gotta do is kung fu fighting!
So, as you can see, my son is back.
Whoa!
So, anyways, leading up with Castlevania here. And, again, sorry, trying to get back in the swing of things. I went and picked up my son. Tetris. A really, really good one. Well, I don't know if it's so much a good game, but the label looks cool. I really like the label of that one.
It looks pretty good. Oh, because it's your favorite color, orange.
There you go. Alright, Banjo-Kazooie. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Banjo-Kazooie, but it is a good game, and I know that a lot of people do enjoy it. And before you get excited, and you're like, finally, we're getting into the good games. Nah, fam. We got plenty more bad sports titles to go. But, for now, we are on a little stretch of good games. Diddy Kong Racing. I was always biased because I love Mario Kart Racing. But, you know, Diddy Kong Racing. Pretty cool. It's a good one. Consider it a good game. Silicon Valley. Now, I don't know much about this game. I did, like I said, we did try out every game, but I did try to like this game just because it looks like something I'd be into, but it wasn't anything like I expected. It wasn't, and of course it's N64, so I shouldn't have expected like, you know, some crazy new age game, but the label looks so cool that I thought so. But this is a little bit harder to get. kind of one of what I would consider the obscure titles. Snowboard Kids 2. Now this one's pretty hard to get. It's about $45 last time I priced it, I think. It is one of the harder ones to get. Hey buddy, when you go back there, will you make sure to shut the door?
Yeah.
Thank you. He's going to play Breath of the Wild. So Snowboard Kids 2. It is hard to get. It's also a decent game. Then we got Powerpuff Girls. Actually, yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna do 2 games at a time like I was doing. I think that one a little better. But anyway, Powerpuff Girls. You know, I like Powerpuff Girls growing up. I ain't gonna lie. Cartoon. And we have Bust-a-Move 2. I actually forgot that there was Bust-a-Move 2. I remember Bust-a-Move, the original, the Bust-a-Move 99. I remember that one because that one was hard for Sam to get. But either one of those are too tough to get. Oh, okay. A couple things to say about these ones. A Bug's Life is one of my favorite movies. The game is alright. Blitz Special Edition. That's actually one of the harder ones to get. So keep an eye on that one. It's like, I think it's like $30, $40. I don't think it's anything like too insane, but it is one of the harder ones to get. Definitely keep your eye on that one. Now, one that surprised me, not necessarily surprised me, but yeah, I guess so. I guess I could say surprised that there's a Mega Man on the Nintendo 64. I think that's both cool and surprising. It's not that good, just because they tried to do the like 3D graphics, like, you know, it was the first step into 3D. Sorry, first step into 3D gaming, you know. So it's not that good. It's like an open, kind of more of like an open world kind of Mega Man, not the side scroller you're used to. Monaco Grand Prix and Rampage 2. Now, Rampage 2 is, I'd say, a little on the difficult side to get. But most importantly, it's difficult to get in really good condition for a fair price. And Sam struggled with that. He also got Monaco Grand Prix for the collection. I mean, I guess I would say that one's pretty hard to get. I don't know if it is or not. I mean, let me know if it's hard for you guys. It was kind of hard for us. I don't know if it was just one of those weird ones. Now, Charlie Blast, I've heard from various people. I'm in a lot of groups and stuff, so I pay attention to a lot of things, but a lot of people, Charlie Blast was one of the later ones that they got. Like, it was one of the harder ones to get for them. Not the case for me. I got that pretty early, but numerous people have struggled with that, so maybe it's hard to get. This one, just to let you guys in on a little secret, this one's getting hard, like pretty hard to get. It's just one of those like track and field games, like Superstar Soccer. It's hard to get, but yeah, I had a tough time getting that one, and it's getting harder and harder. Top Gear Rally 2, there it is. I said early in the video that I thought they made a second one. I think the cover on that one is pretty cool. And then we got Polaris Snowcross. I love that label. I think it's a really cool label. And that's actually, I'd say that's one of the obscure ones too. So you got like an obscure category, a rare category, uncommon, easy, and then expensive and rare, you know, something like that. South Park Chef's Love Shack is one of my favorite games, one of my dad's favorite games, so we grew up playing that. It's a really good game. If you don't have that, get it, man. It's really fun. And Bomberman Hero, it's good too. It's not the expensive one on the set, but it's good. Now we got Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I'm a Mortal Kombat fan, so I'm down with Mortal Kombat. And then Clay Fighter, and no, that is not the $350, $400 one. That's not the Big Daddy Grail. But we will get to that Big Daddy Grail. Killer Instinct, which is kind of weird because you know, I kind of forget that there's a Killer Instinct on the N64, mainly because the cover reminds me of Mortal Kombat. So I kind of forget that, you know. And then Blitz is Blitz, like I said before. If you haven't tried Blitz, definitely try Blitz out. There's Sarge's Heroes. Oddly enough, there's not a green card of that. Unless there might be a variant. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with every single variant. I was like a year ago, but I forget. But that is one of my favorite games on N64. Incredible game, especially for its time. And then, of course, Mortal Kombat. Always good. Mortal Kombat is always good. Of course, there's some bad Mortal Kombat games, but... Hey You Pikachu came with... I think it came with the bundle of the Pikachu N64, and it came with like a microphone and things like that, but I don't have all the accessories for that. I do have the console, but I just have the game. I'm not worried about the accessories, really, because it's actually not a good game, to be honest with you. And shout out to Bomberman Sam for Bomberman, but yeah, got Bomberman 64. There's like 3 or 4 Bombermans on the 64. And then Yoshi. Pretty decent game. Both of them, honestly, pretty decent. We're into the good games right now. Pokemon Puzzle League, other than trying it out, I haven't played much of it. I think it's probably pretty good though. And then that's the gray variant I was talking about for World Is Not Enough. So, you know what's weird? Tom and Jerry was kind of hard to get. I don't think it should be, but it was kind of hard to get for me. And Quest 64. Quest 64 is actually a really good game. I would almost venture to say, at least in my opinion, that's a hidden gem, is the term for those. Honestly, I think it is like a hidden gem. It's not bad. It's not, I mean, it's not exactly like Zelda, but, you know, it's like kind of like that type of game. Monopoly, you know, Monopoly's on every single console known to man. But, so the N64 is no exception. But I love Monopoly, so I'm not even mad. And you got Hercules. Hercules is actually kind of a harder one to get, too. Not super hard, but kind of obscure. Next. Ooh, okay. We got StarCraft 64. It's pretty expensive. It's on as far as N64 goes. That's actually a pricier one. I think that was about $50 if I remember right, and I think it's still up there. That's a super popular game amongst a lot of people. I did not like it at all, but it's pretty good, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. I think it's not really like a point and click. Lil D, do you remember StarCraft when we tried it out for a minute? This one? I probably don't remember, but I didn't like it. It was complicated for me, but
Yeah, it probably was.
Banjo Tooie.
Oh, I played. Can I put Dewey?
Space Invaders. Sam loves Space Invaders, so shout out to him. And Perfect Dark. Now, Perfect Dark is an incredible shooter. A lot of people compare it with James Bond, and I agree. I think it's up there with it. I think it's really good, especially for its time. And we got Starshot and Chameleon Twist. Starshot, definitely one of the obscure ones. Chameleon Twist, I don't think it's hard to get, but the second one kind of was. Can't say much about the gameplay on either one of those because I didn't play them very long. Ooh, okay. Now, Mystical Ninja. You're going to want to keep an eye on Mystical Ninja. That one and Goemons are pretty tough to get. Carmageddon is actually tough to get as well. And I do have a funny little story that I'll tell quickly. Me and Sam purposely got that one because we saw it in the wild. We hated that game just from the cover, and I don't think it's a good game anyway. So we purposely got a bad copy. He even threw it in the snow. It was like cold out. He threw it in the snow. That's how much we don't care about the game. Sorry if it offends you, but I mean, look at that. It just looks like something from like a wannabe Walking Dead or something. I don't know, man. Not into it. There's Gomans. What do you know? Yeah. Oh, this is a perfect lineup right here. Conker's Bad Fur Day. I have to admit, I did not play it as a kid. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know why it was $65 for the N64. And when I got it, first thing I did was pop it in and play it for a while. It is good, especially for N64. It is really good. And I think it pushed the limits, like as far as like censorship, you know, because like he starts out drunk and stuff. I don't know. I think it's a really good one. I think you should get it. Gomans, that one right there is pretty rare. That is hard to get. I did have to eBay that one. Conkers, I've seen it in the wild a couple times now. I don't think it's real rare. I think it's just really popular. And I think that's what drives the price up so much. It really is good, though. Castlevania. This is the rare Castlevania on the library. The other one's really easy. It's like a $5, $10 game. This one's like a $35, $40 game. And it's actually one of my last. The next to last. It's a pretty hard one to get. I mean, you can get on eBay and catch them, but keep in mind, I'm also factoring in condition. I like to get them in good condition, and so that's also a factor for me. You know what I mean? That one right there is another little secret that I discovered. That one is getting hard to get. I'm just being real. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it's getting harder and harder to get. Sorry. Clear my throat. Gauntlet Legends. Good game. Really is. I think it's like $25-$30. It's a pretty good game. Indiana Jones is another one that we purposely got in bad condition. Because I actually like Indiana Jones, to be honest with you. Like the movies and stuff. Like, I mean, I like it. But, you know, the game just get on my nerves because there's so many, and they're like, most of them are expensive in the libraries. So, I don't know. It's just something that gets on my nerves. So, we purposely got a bad copy. Big Mountain 2000. Another title I would consider obscure on the N64. You do not see it very often. It is possible to find. It's not an impossible game, but it is weird. Duck Dodgers. That was the final game that we got for N64. But the only reason that it was the final game was because for some reason it got overlooked on the list. And so luckily I spotted it though. And that was why it was last. Other than that, it was Castlevania. Harvest Moon 64 picked up by Sam because he really loves the Harvest Moon series. And Daikatana, however you pronounce it. It's actually kind of a harder one to get to. Both of these actually are fetch like a $30 price range or so. Kind of hard to get in the wild. Here we go. What a lovely lineup. What a treat to have these two get together. I didn't even plan it like that. They were just next to each other. So, this one, I need to tell you guys. This one is getting really hard to find. And I mean even on eBay. And when I got it, here I am again. When I got this, I got it for like $20. $25, I think. It went on a price increase like crazy because people started discovering how hard it was to get. This is honestly, I mean, I feel like this is top 5 rarest games on the N64, and I'm not joking. I'm not joking at all, especially in good condition. It's one of those games that like you might have to get from Mexico or something, but they're usually in bad shape, you know. on eBay and stuff at least. But yeah, it is really hard to get, especially in good condition. A condition like that, like it's hard, it's getting hard. Take my word for it. Get that early if you're going for this. This is conflicting. In my opinion, it's pretty hard to get, and it's definitely one of the rarer ones as far as N64 goes. It doesn't fetch a huge price tag. It's only like $20, $30, I think. And I actually did find this in the wild at some point too. But that's another one to keep your eye out on. I'm just trying to help. So, we'll grab another batch of games, and I shall return. Alright, and I'm back. I'm sure you've noticed that, I've been including the Fantastic consoles in there in the background for you. I might do a video on those some other time, but I just thought it was a good way to kind of show them. So anyways, if you stuck with me this long, you must really be into the N64 like me. So, therefore, we're automatically friends. It's actually a doopie. The Star Wars is actually a doopie. A little duplicate going on. But, yeah, like I said, N64, very, very fun to collect for. If you see me moving the camera, like if the camera gets a little shaky in between the games, there's another Tetris game for the N64. It's because I'm reaching over to grab two games. See that? So I have them kind of lined up, and I'm just grabbing two at a time. But, yeah, we had a good stretch of good games, but we're getting into the not necessarily bad games, just kind of like the mediocre games. Definitely wouldn't call them filler or anything. These are just like the maybe popular titles, or some people like them, some people don't, type thing. But yeah, N64 is fun to collect for. I highly recommend it. The consoles are beautiful to collect for. Love the colors. I mean, who doesn't? Some good racing games. I used to play Rush in the arcade. Not so much arcade, but like when you sit, those little racing things you sit down and race in them. Places like Dave and Buster's and stuff still have them. But that's actually one that I forgot about on N64. So I like Rush. And again, Vigilante. It's a good game. But I was always a Twisted Metal fan. I think by the time I saw that game on N64, I believe Twisted Metal might have been out by then. Or for me, like, I had played it before. I think. So you can see what I mean. These are just kind of like the average games. Nothing too spectacular. But you gotta get through them, you know what I'm saying? Goldberg. You guys remember Goldberg? Oh my goodness, that dude, Bill Goldberg. I used to love that dude. But I mean, look, this is what you're up against for N64. That's what I mean. That's why I'm doing this, just so you can see what all it is. Lighting's not real good because it's starting to get evening time. But yeah, you gotta get all these. You gotta get them all. 296. That's what I was talking about when I said there was like an Olympic game or something, like a hockey game or Olympic game that I got confused with. That's the other one. That's what I was talking about. I got them mixed up because they have like similar titles. But yeah. Just look at this. This is why it gets a bad rap. It's not that it's like this was a bad thing at the time, but when you go to like collect for them and stuff, you just run into tons of old wrestling games and ton of old sports games, and that's what you end up running into. I mean, look at all these. So they're not real. I mean, they're cheap to collect for at least, but they're not real fun to collect for. But it doesn't mean that N64 is bad. There's plenty of good ones that are fun to collect for. and play. They still hold up today, which is saying a lot because the N64 doesn't hold up well today. Just gonna be honest with you. But the games that are good, they do. Like, I can still play some Super Mario 64 right now. Another Rush game. Like 2 or 3 of them. But it's all good because, I mean, they are a good racing game. By the way, that's my favorite Fantastic console right there. Orange is my favorite color. I think you heard Lil D probably say that. It's true. It is my favorite. That one's weird. Take a look at that one. You would think that'd be like some super dope game, you know? But it's just like Hyper Bike. Another Blitz one. There's tons of Blitz ones on here, which I ain't mad at. I ain't mad at you. We are in the home stretch, though, guys. So if you stuck with me, we are in the home stretch. We're gonna get to the grails, which I'm sure most people, that's what they want to see. We are gonna get to them. We're in the home stretch. I believe this is my last pile before then. I was talking to my shelves in there. According to my shelves, it's looking like it. I think I got them all. But after this chunk, Hang Time is a good game, by the way. After this chunk, let me go check. Double check I got them all in here. I think I got all of them, besides the grails. If I missed 1 or 2, I'm sorry. Like, if you are storing N64 games, you know what I'm talking about. They're hard to store, so it's possible a couple of them could have fell behind a couple games or something. But I think I did get them all. I hope so, at least. If not, you got plenty to look at, right? Micro Machines was an unlicensed game on NES. And it's actually really good. Look at Cyber Tiger. Like, what in the world? What in the world? Oh, what's he doing?
A big old hay. Not a big old hay.
Real deep, I was talking to him. I wasn't talking to you, buddy. Twisted Edge, Star Wars. There's like 20 Star Wars games. I mean, I like Star Wars. I'm not an OG Star Wars fan, but I mean, like, I like it. But, man, there's so many of them on the 64, man. Just like, how many did they have to make? Lamborghini. Lamborghini was always my favorite car growing up. Still is. Wish I could have one. Maybe if you guys make me YouTube famous, I could get one. I'm joking. This is a cool label. Yeah, that's actually a really cool label. And then you got Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero. I like the game. Man, a lot of people hate it. I think the Angry Video Game Nerd even did an episode on it, if I remember right. But I like it. Oh, there's a little doopy of Top Gear Rally. I ain't mad at it, though. Saying about this one, it was towards the end. We found it in person, and we grabbed it because it was in person. We were having a hard time getting it. Sorry if Lil D's being loud in the background, but we found that actually in person, so that's why we ended up getting it, you know, kind of damaged, just because we were happy to actually find it in the wild and didn't have to resort to eBay for it. I actually forgot there was 2 Duke Nukems on this, in this library. Milo's is actually a decent game. None of these are super rare, though. Here's the last 3 of this chunk, and I'm going to check to see if I got any left over. Paperboy sucks. Paperboy is trash on this console. I love the NES ones. They're fun, cool little games, but the 64 one is trash. That looks cool. Reminds me of something from Power Rangers. But yeah, so I'm going to go check. Look at that. So many games. Games on games on games on games. So I'm going to go check and see if I got them all. And if not, I'm going to grab the grails. We're going to do the thing. This is the moment that you've all been waiting for. The grails. The big daddies. The biggins. The hard ones to find on the 64. The expensive ones. All that. And the more rare consoles too. Pikachu Pokemon console. The gold N64 console. That is actually a Nintendo Power controller. It's actually kind of a rare controller. So, I'm going to make this a little more detailed. I'm going to tell you if the game's good or not and how I got it. So, Worms Armageddon. I mean, I used to be a fan of Worms games a little bit. My son played it on Xbox. You know, it's alright. I don't think it should be that expensive. It's like $150. I don't think it should be that much. Stunt Racer. I'm sorry, the lighting is getting kind of bad in here. But anyways, Stunt Racer. This one is actually really good. It's actually a really fun racing game. I've heard it's a Blockbuster exclusive. It is pretty rare, especially trying to find in the wild. It'll fetch you about like 120 nowadays. I think I got it for like 80. But that is a good one. It's actually fun, you know. It's an expensive title, but it's a fun one. Bomberman 64. Second Attack. Sequel to the first one on the library that I already showed you. This one just wasn't as well known. You know, it came out late. And just didn't sell real well because I think the PlayStation or, you know, things like that, GameCube might have even been coming out or out at the time. And that's why that one's so rare. I don't really think it's that rare, though, to be 100% honest with you. But it is kind of expensive. It's like 100, 110 or something like that. We got it for 85 at the time. And when I say at the time, we collected for this about 8 months ago. Maybe, actually about close to a year ago now. I don't know, 8-10 months ago, something like that. But that one, I don't think that one should be that much either, to be honest. You know, this one, this is rare. This one you will have trouble getting, even on eBay for even a reasonable price in good condition. This is the one that I told you fetches like $200 nowadays, and maybe even more. When I got it, it was like 120, 130, I think. And this one's hard. It's just a real bad bowling game. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like real bad, you know what I mean? But like, it's not good. And just one of those super rare titles that no one bought. And I think it did come out late in the game too. But yeah, that one's gonna be hard for you guys to get. eBay will be your best friend on that one. I have a dupe of Stunt Racer. The only reason that I do is because I found it for a really good price later, shortly after I completed N64. Found it for a super cheap price, like I think like 80 or 85. So I snatched it. This thing went up in price quick though. Like it used to only be like a $40 game, and then it just jumped. So I am willing to trade that. Honestly, it's trade bait. If some of you guys maybe have like something kind of heavy hitter on Super Nintendo, or like a big pile of Wii U games or something, let me know. That's what I'm actively pursuing right now. And I would be willing to trade that. So, big pile of cheap Wii U games, or something big on Super Nintendo. Now, last but not least, the Big Daddy Grail. The Big Daddy Grail. My boy Rob holds that one for me. He does not let me hold it. My boy Rob. In my game room, he holds it too. That's where it stays. It is around $350, $400. I don't think it should be that high. I think Super Bowling is harder to get, but it is what it is. It's a Blockbuster exclusive, and it is expensive. Rob, can I borrow that? You don't have to give me such a rude face, dude. Showing it for the video. But that's Sculptor's Cut. That is the Big Daddy, the Grail of N64. Funny thing is, we popped it in to play it, and, you know, we clicked on the main guy, the snowman guy, and he says, we click on him, and he's like, call me Daddy. Dude, we lost it. Did not expect that. We lost it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was a long video. And, but I mean, there's no short way to do this, and I wanted to really show every game. I'm pretty sure I got all of them. I went and checked my shelves. I'm pretty sure that I showed all of the games. I know that we have them all, because I'd used a checklist over and over. But I'm pretty sure I got them all on film. So again, I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. If you stuck with me, thank you. I've been wanting to do this for a while. And I really want to do a video on NES, a complete NES collection. If this gets enough views and stuff and interest, I will do it. But that's like a 677 game library, and I do have them all, including the big dog. Yes, the big dog. So if this gets enough attention, I will continue to do full collection videos. I have a few, and I have quite a bit of games to go over. So subscribe, like, comment, anything. Let me know if you're even feeling these videos. I'm sorry for the camera work. I did try my best. But you know, no real easy way to show these to actually show every single game. So thanks again. Stay tuned, because I'm going to do it again.